It's time once again for Lotus Cup Europe. Of course, it is round 2 here at Dejon, and it's safe to say it is absolutely pouring it down here, and it plans to stay wet all weekend. Now, of course, Dejon made famous for that battle between Jules Villeneuve and René Arnoux back in the 70s with that famous battle. So let's get inside and find out how our Lotus Cup Europe drivers battle it out this weekend. It's been a couple of weeks now since Hockenheim, and of course the Ras brothers dominated there. Gregory winning in the overall race, and John Ras also winning 2 races in his production class. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see what John can do here this weekend. Now, this time last year was where we started to see that battle develop between the Walker brothers, and Jonathan really did show his true strength in driving, winning 2 of the races last year. So it's all to play for as always, and the championship standings as of now are Gregory Ras in 1 and John Ras in 2. John Walker and Jeremy Lorenko take up positions P1 and P2 here for our race at 1. But some drivers to keep your eyes out for, of course, Philippe Loop and Jean-Baptiste Loop, starting in 7th and 9th respectively. Now they're the father and son combination, so we're certainly going to see some exciting battles from them. In qualifying, the circuit was absolutely soaking, and it looks like the heavens are about to open. So this certainly could be an exciting race. It's a rolling start, so it's time for us to move out the way and you watch the action.
Well, as we mentioned, it might be a little bit wet, and the rain teeming down as they head off on the formation lap around the former home of the French and Swiss Grand Prix, Dijon-Prenois. So it is John Walker and Jeremy Lorenko who share the front row from John Packer and Nikolai Ibsen, then Nick Walker and Javier Georges with Jean-Baptiste Luc and Frank Laroche. Next up, John Ras, as ever, took the 4 of the production runners. He is on row 7 alongside Markus Mikovic. Christophe Lazondra should improve from 15th, and still they keep coming. Absolutely gigantic grid. Great to see David Harvey back in Lotus Cup Europe competition. In all, 33 of them, with Yves Kouraman completing the grid in the Team Rhino car, although the field in the Lotus Cup Europe is far from extinction. Huge entry once more this weekend in Dejon as they come towards the conclusion of the sighting lap, and this is going to be something of a voyage into the unknown for the drivers. Very tricky, treacherous conditions, also some high-speed turns with plenty of elevation changes. So the pace car waiting until the last possible moment to pull into the pit lane, which it does now. So it's the responsibility of Jonathan Walker to pace the field as we are in car with Jean-Baptiste Loop, and away we go. Quick consultation of the mirrors from Jean-Baptiste, and he looks to gain ground almost immediately as they sprint towards turn 1. And it's Walker who's got the early advantage from Jeremy Lorenko. A little bit of a wiggle there for Lazondra in the number 92 car with Jean-Baptiste Loop right in the thick of the action and getting thoroughly drenched for his troubles as well. The 211, of course, being the open cockpit machinery, whereas it's Exige V6 Capars which are heading the way, which is Jonathan Walker, who is out front, I think, from Lorenko, and then Nicholas Walker, as the rest of the field tiptoe their way through. So they head downhill and on to the extension here in Dijon-Prenois that was built, if memory serves correctly, ahead of the 1974 French Grand Prix. That brings them on to the steep uphill right-hand hairpin, which is where the race leader arrives now. You can see just how the road climbs, also see how slippery it is as both Lorenko and Walker have a little bit of a moment. Jeremy Lorenko seesawing at the wheel, a little bit of over-exuberance with the right foot maybe, as he climbs the hill. Still the car wheel spins. So they battle onwards, and and a problem for Nikolai Ibsen, who goes off on the straight. Maybe just he dabbed the brakes, and Nikolai Ibsen into the Armco barrier. And I fear that that might well be his race more or less run, or at least his opportunity to contend at the front of the field is done. I think the car, just as he came into the braking zone, snapped away from him in car with John Ras. Meanwhile, this is a look at the run into the hairpin. Well, a little bit of a spin in front of him. He takes evasive action. None of this, of course, though, is any concern for Jonathan Walker and Jeremy Lourenco. They have broken well clear of the rest of the field. So it's Nicholas Walker who is just clear of Jean-Baptiste Loup and Xavier Georges. In car with Lourenco. He's got a good run coming out of the final turn, up over the crest in the road. He's got his nose in front of Jonathan Walker as they sprint towards turn 1. It's going to come down to commitment on the brakes. Walker just keeping on as to where Lourenco is. And Walker, maybe he's got his nose in front, in fact, as they power into the braking zone. Indeed, he does maintain the advantage at the head of the field, but these conditions worsening all the while. The leading duo not delayed one jot as they break well clear of the rest of the field. And this is fine weather, of course, for some of the production class runners who are beginning to mix it with some of the more tentative Avoras and 211s. Progress on their way. Got waved yellow flags coming into turn 1 and possibly a safety car board as well. It's not delaying the leading duo. They continue to battle wheel to wheel, flicking through the chicane. This, of course, the scene of that 79 scrap between Arnoux and Villeneuve. But when they next come into view of a marshal's post, they may well find they've got to slow themselves down. Down through downhill left-hander, and possibly they've just eased off the pace. Maybe not, in fact, as they head. Well, there's waved yellow flags. You can see in the distance at the hairpin. And that almost certainly will be the prompt that the safety car is out. Yes, there we see confirmation and a rather nutty tartan umbrella from the marshal as he awaits the train of cars now all begin to slow themselves down. Quite what's prompted the safety car, I don't know. It's possibly Nikolai Ibsen's car because he was parked perpendicular to the oncoming traffic. We may have one or two others that have slid off in various directions. And in fact, there we go. That is Nicolas Ferrer. He's getting a tow back to the pits. Always a sorry sight to see a racing car under tow, particularly so early in the race. Hopefully he'll be refettled in time for race 2. Also Nikolai Ibsen, the Exige V6 Cafard, powered under its own steam fortunately, but sporting unfortunately a fair bit of cosmetic damage. So as Ibsen pulls clear, can hear the noise of the engines, and there goes the safety car, so the race is about to get underway. It's cutting in quite fine as Jonathan Walker now plants his right foot, accelerating steeply uphill. And that really is a very steep climb for the drivers, and also a really difficult balance as well for the optimum line of attack through that final turn on towards the first corner. And Jonathan Walker has got the jump over the rest of the field and is beginning to ease away already. The rest of them, quite understandably, needing to be a little bit attentive as the conditions are appreciably worsening since the start of the race. It was drizzling as they were on the grid. It is now a full-blown downpour. The cars sliding around. It's been good progress though from John Packer. He is beginning to ease himself up towards the front of the field as again Walker and Lourenco just breaking clear of then Nicholas Walker and car 6. Then it's John Packer, Jean-Baptiste Loup, Xavier Georges and the rest of them. Luckily Jeanine Prachet in the pink 211 making a little bit of progress as well. She just moves ahead of Anthony Fournier as we go in car with Frank Laroche, who understeers like crazy, full lock as he scrabbles for traction, which he finds. He's up in pursuit of Xavier Georges. All the while though the leaders trying to break clear. They've got to be careful though of those low-lying painted curves because they will be very slippery if you get the power down a little bit too early. Meanwhile David Harvey ahead of the next gaggle of cars, and this is the beauty of course of the Lotus Cup Europe, is that wherever you look there is always a great battle underway. Conditions such as these actually do just begin to favour the production class cars, and certainly in terms of traction there's another bit of a wiggle for Jonathan Walker, who really is on the limit of adhesion. He needs to be through this final turn because all the speed you carry downhill helps you going uphill. As unfortunately is a spin for Yves Couraman leading duo flash through once more and are now beginning to kick up some fairly sizable plumes of spray. Off the third, then darts across the line, and John Packer looking, if he can, to ease up into third place. In car with Jean-Baptiste Loup. He's in the thick of this fight for third and closes up onto Nicholas Walker and runs out wide and finds a lot of traction there. That's a lovely pass from Jean-Baptiste Loup. He can make it stick, indeed he does. He just let the car run on. And in conditions such as these, you have to take it almost corner by corner. So it's Packer up into third place from Loup, and then Walker go in car with Jean-Baptiste Loup, really having to correct the wheel all the time. Out front though, Jonathan Walker leads the way from Jeremy Lorenko. We'll take a short break. Join us in a couple of moments' time as the action continues.